Hello, and welcome to Seeking Heaven, the Near Death Experience and Other Phenomena. I'm your host, Tamara Caulder Richardson, a six-time near death experiencer, as well as Evidential Medium and Starseed. Welcome. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, tell your friends, watch all the past episodes, watch the new episodes, and definitely sign up for my Ascension School newsletter. And that's Academy of divinewisdom.com, where I have lots of online events, classes, courses on the ascension process, as well as having guest teachers. So check it out. So let me jump right into it. We are back today with a in-demand guest. That would be Vaughn Galt. Now, Vaughn, if you haven't seen her other episodes, please do. She has several books out. The Buddhist Mandalas explore parallel realities with sacred geometry. The Buddhist Mandalas, Christ consciousness of multidimensional Merkabah, and she has other books, other projects she's working on. She's a YouTube host. I mean, she is a wealth of information. Today, however, we're going to be talking. Now, she is trained in the Buddhist spiritual practice in Buddhism. However, she's so much more. I mean, she's very educated in a lot of different spiritual knowledge and so forth. Not just that, but she also is going to wants to talk. We're going to talk about today. So we're going to go. This is going to be fun about pre-life contracts and about how she figured out she helped starseeds coming to Earth, what that is and their mission, as well as how does that play into the multiverse. And then if that's the case and we have different timelines and there's also a Mandela effect where things are changing, how do we keep the pulse of all this and then somehow come out on top with our spiritual journey? She's going to tell us all about it. So here is Fawn Galt. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. We didn't change outfits.
No, we didn't change outfits. I tell you
We've
what,
been having a long conversation.
we
So,
had a very long conversation. I tell you what, you're a firecracker and full of wisdom. And I think I really love. You're going to probably laugh about it, but I love your style because you just come out there, and I think it's great because it's very disarming with spirituality. It's not so serious, but it's just. You really engage people, and I love how warm and funny you are, and people I know they take to it because I really love just letting you speak and just being you and just letting it come through as organically as you are, because I think it is even better. But today I want us to go back and talk about how did you find out that you were a pre-life starseed planner, and what that means, and what is a tulka.
it was a toku. Yeah. Okay. So
Tulka.
break it down.
Break it down.
Let's
Break it
break it
down. Break
break
it
it down. We're gonna break it down,
down.
and I gotta take notes because we go into so many different tangents. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
Ooh,
So you
we're going down. We are
we're
going
going
down the rabbit
down the rabbit
hole. The rabbit
hole.
is hot pink, but we're going down. That little thing in our
Yeah,
hair, but we're
yeah,
going
yeah,
there.
yeah. I love it. Yeah, the hair thing kind of like evolved over time because I have like long hair to my bum.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago in the early book interviews, I used to put it down, and then I got the Rona and I lost some hair, so I had to find something to do with my hair. And so my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, is like, "You should be like the Moon Princess," because she saw a Netflix movie about the Moon Prince, the Chinese Moon Princess. And so I was like, "Well, that's a good." I
Aw,
was like, because I was gonna do my hair in a bun, just like they do in Laos. My
yeah.
husband calls it a Lao bun. And then
Yeah.
I was just gonna stick some ornaments on because that's what they do in Southeast
Oh,
Asia
it's
when
so
they
pretty.
go to
So
temple
pretty.
or ceremony. And so I was doing that, and then obviously being a little bit Polynesian, I was like, well, let me add some flowers. So over time, it's
Yeah.
basically it's filling up space here to fill up the lost hair.
Well, you know what? It's very Polynesian, and it's just and it shows
I'm kind of representing everything here.
you are representing everything with the feathers. I like that because that's just a little throw people off. But the flower is very Polynesian, and it's so
It's
beautiful.
very Lemurian,
It is Lemurian, and I
it's
really it's
very
very
moo.
feminine. It is, and I just we were talking about the aquatics and so forth. So look, we're going to go down this cosmic road. We're going to
Yep.
get into star seeds.
Yep.
How you're a star seed, I'm a star seed. We totally connected. I love what you're doing, and how early on, if you haven't seen it. The episode before where we're talking about how early on the Buddhist priests that were in the temple as a little girl realize, wait a minute, you're like a little light bulb. And you're like, I am. And realize that your frequency, you're different. And a lot of the star seeds that come in, and maybe you can speak on this, which probably has to do with your part of your mission. You got a big mission.
Yeah.
They gave you a big mission.
Put me to work. Dang it.
I
Um.
know a lot. But as far as you being helping others, you also had to recognize your inner light and so forth to be able to help people with their inner light. How did you know that you were a pre-life planner for start?
Okay, so I just have to correct something. There are no
Okay.
priests and priestesses in Buddhist.
All
They're
right.
monks,
Oh, I'm
monks
so
and nuns,
sorry.
and monks and nuns
Darn.
are just teachers. They
All
were
right,
once
teachers.
students, and then they teach, and then they become students. Students become a teacher, teacher becomes a student, and we all eventually learn
All
from
right.
each
So
other.
sorry
So
for the
just
vocabulary.
well,
Okay,
it's
teachers.
okay. It's
Aren't we
okay.
all teachers and all
We're
students?
all
Okay.
teachers and we're all students. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Okay.
I like to learn lots of things, and sometimes if I don't learn something, I just start. That's why I started my own podcast because I wanted to introduce people that I wanted to introduce and talk about topics that nobody talks about. Like take it like interstellar conversations about the reincarnation and pre-life planning process.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
anyways, in short, um, growing up, I was born and raised into Buddhism. I'm from the Hmong tribe of Laos, and we have not just the materials that different monks and nuns have added to the canon over the last 25 years. We've also incorporated Vedic Hinduism and the concepts that carried forward from that. And we incorporated a lot of shamanism, and they call it shamanism, but ancient spiritual knowledge from the lost continent of Mu or
Mhm.
Lemuria.
Miriam.
Um, before the mega flood. So that has been kept in the canon, and so it's just kind of like a melting pot of knowledge, metaphysical knowledge on how we create our physical reality from our consciousness. And it's really super simple and easy to understand. But anyways, when I was growing up in the monasteries, and I attended a lot of different Buddhist temples and monasteries in the United States. If I'm in Laos, I'm there at the ones that my parents help fund the art restoration of. And I got bored of the basic lessons and the chants that were kind of basic, how not to be a douchebag. So I started to wander the property and study the artwork. And if you've been to one Buddhist temple, you'll see the same artwork everywhere. It doesn't matter where in the world, it's the same artwork. And basically, the artwork is teaching you
Mhm.
the knowledge, but in the form of art because people become illiterate over time.
It's
And so
they've
the only
gotten
way to
dumbed down, don't you
it
think?
got dumbed down, yeah. So the only way to pass
Here's some
forward
art.
information, yeah, there's some the only
Beautiful.
way to pass forward information is through the art. And when people are of certain consciousness level and they find certain information, they'll look back at the art and go, "Oh, that's what that means," etc. So leave it at the Buddhist mandalas when Christ the purple one.
Okay.
So we talked about the first book, Buddhist Mandalas, Explore Parallel Realities of Sacred Geometry, in the last episode, which is really good to understanding that you are an energy field, you are a
Mhm.
Merkabah mandala. Give you a quick high level overview of the book. So this goes. So
Perfect.
my childhood in learning advanced Buddhism, because these concepts are kind of far out for basic Buddhism, the basics of how to be a nice person and all that. Those are all good basics which we should have anyways. But then I went and got the material from all the research done in mindfulness and meditation and consciousness studies and metaphysics, and I put that all into a book. And then I was like, how do I do this in a book? Because this is so, how do I explain this in normal speak so anybody can pick it up and understand it, whether they're in third grade or they're like 80 years old.
Mhm.
So I break down a lot of these really complex concepts in really easy language and analogies and ways people understand. So really quick. So the first book that I wrote was Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities. Okay. And that one is a basic on applying the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. And it's for people who it's not, like I said, it's not a religion. When you read it, you realize, oh, it's basic kind of how do I reprogram my consciousness to uncover my hangups, my unknown programs that I picked up from my mom or dad or my upbringing environment that has influenced the
Ah,
way that I see myself, that I see others, which has influenced how I guide and direct my life. Like, what kind of people do I attract to myself? What kind of
mm,
relationships do I attract? Why am I attracted to this career and that? All the different things that we do are basically being unconsciously influenced by these programs that we have learned. And many of them are good, but many of them, that negative self-talk, that doubt, all that kind of stuff has been picked up from our childhood upbringings because
yeah,
who do we
true.
spend most of our time in and pick up these behaviors? From our parents. So
Mhm.
not to blame them because we pre-chose the parents that we had for certain
Yeah.
reasons. But this is a really good one to pick up because it will help you dissect that so that you can understand yourself and then manifest with more clarity and without that maybe old baggage that you didn't know was in the trunk of the car.
Oh gosh.
Because the thing is that as we go into higher frequencies and as you raise your consciousness into higher frequencies, you will manifest your next best experience. And if
Mhm.
you're manifesting your next best experience with unconscious programming that you picked up
You.
about anything, it's
Mm.
going to come out all haywire. And you're going to go, why
It's
did
gonna be
I?
yeah, it's not gonna be a rhyme or reason, but one thing I
Right.
will say, and this is so needed, I do have a question about this, okay,
Hmm.
so manifesting parallel realities, can I
Go ahead.
probably do a very bad job of explaining,
Go ahead.
what I think this is and what you're trying to communicate, simply, you're so complex, which is good, I like that, but, um parallel realities, when we grow up a certain way, we receive certain type of ancestral programming that is not always positive, right? It's not always and it was going too deep, but just certain behaviors that we, as we become adults and self-thinking and self-aware, we don't want these things and we want to achieve things and we find they come into in the way. It could be like I've noticed as an example with women. Some women don't think that maybe they shouldn't have a business or what have you because they've taught that this always the man that's in charge. I mean, crazy stuff. I mean, it could
Yeah.
honestly be anything. I'm just using an example. It could be anything. So you're saying through this, and the two different parallel realities would be the one that you want to get out of being like rubber band snap back to and supersede it into a self-driven life. Is this did I get that right?
Right,
No.
right, right. No, no,
Close?
no. You definitely got it right. And the address is a lot with my clients that come in for sixth sense consultations because it goes into the sixth senses, and then also for um, past life, future life, and life between life, hypnosis, quantum hypnosis. I address this a lot with my Asian clients in terms of heritage and culture because they
Mhm.
many of them unconsciously picked up the programming that you must achieve, you must be like A plus, you got to be an overachiever, and it
Yeah,
is
I understand.
stressful to constantly have that set expectation before you're born just because you were born Asian from this and you got to hold the whole family lineage up. And that's a lot of stress. And so I deal with that with my clients a lot so that they can find happiness in their career path and in their life without trying to appease the shortcomings of their parents
Oh, man. That's
expectations that come from culture.
I also see that, I see that with my clients in a different way,
Mm,
through readings, but I see it these things come up. I mean, I find it interesting. And of course, I'm very compassionate. And it makes you realize we all come from somewhere. But you
Mhm.
also see it like also in the Hindu,
Yeah.
with Indians, the families, they put a lot of pressure for high degrees and a lot of study. And also sometimes in Jewish communities, it's come up a lot. And it's so much pressure from the family a lot of
There's a
times.
lot of
And
pressure.
a
Why
lot
do
of
you think most doctors and engineers are Asian? You think it was all personal choice? It
yeah,
was
a lot of
pre-planned. They
pressure.
just fell into it, and then later on they're like, "Oh, I'm not as having as much fun as I wanted to." Well, did you really have a stake on picking out your career path?
Well, and
So,
it's also similar with, I've seen too with, Vietnamese
mhm,
women, Italian women. Now, look, I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just saying it's an observation. I could be wrong,
mhm.
but that there you must have children. You must have a life. You must do the cooking. I mean, because it comes up in session, and the fact is, we're not saying that people don't need to eat. I mean, we all gotta
Well,
eat,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it has to do with carrying a projected
It's a
experience,
stereotype.
a stereotype within the
It's a
family, and you want to
stereotype.
continue on versus breaking out of that and reformatting it into the way that you feel comfortable. And
Right.
so, and the same thing in male and female roles. And I
Yeah.
think it's so great now that, if a guy wants to be a ballet dancer, who cares? Or be Mr. Mom, who cares? If a woman wants to earn all the money, who cares? I don't think people care about that so much. The stereotypes of gender roles. So you
Yeah,
help
yeah.
with this too.
Well, and yeah, exactly. And I do have guys that come over and they having issues with gender roles in that their spouse has like the more affluent job, the bigger job, and eventually they could come to terms. Like my husband has a great saying on this. I don't know what your problem is, man. Who cares if your lady wants to bring extra bacon home? and and then you get to check out and have fun with the kids all day. That's a good trade. So,
Yeah, it's
but
ego.
it's
That's
just
the only thing. It's just ego.
well, it's ego, and the ego is from trying to meet up with these stereotypes,
Yeah,
cultural stereotypes. So there's nothing wrong necessarily. I mean, they have their place. They come with intentions and guidance, but like all things, there needs to be a balance,
yeah,
and so there needs to
true.
be two people agreeing to it. So, anyways, we'll talk about
Yes.
my client sessions later because all of them are Starseeds and they fall into these pre-life plans. But anyways, so the Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities, when you start working on your consciousness and how you create your life based on the different decisions you make and how you act out on those decisions, it changes your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you attract to yourself a matching experience, hence a matching reality. And so many of my clients will come in because they are working on their spiritual acceleration and they're raising their frequency, everything's all good. Then all of a sudden, something has changed in their life, whereas the history of their family has changed. The way somebody in the family injures themselves is completely different from how they experience it. So they're having their own personal Mandela effects.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
okay, and so they don't know where to go for this kind of stuff, but in Buddhism, when you change your frequency, you change the reality you experience. So now we're talking the multiverse and multiplicity, which
Mhm.
goes into this book. Okay, this is the
Okay.
Buddhist Mandalas. Oh,
Okay,
that's
that's
that's book
beautiful.
2. That's
Oh,
book
wait.
2. The one with Kuan Yin, the
Beautiful,
famous bodhisattva and female master
beautiful.
teacher. She's an
They're
ascended
gorgeous
master.
artwork. Gorgeous, gorgeous covers. Did you do that or hire?
I designed them and I designed them and then I send out the design to my artist and
Gosh,
then
they're
she
so
she
pretty.
draws them for me. And so yeah, these are exactly so
Can I
ascended
make a comment?
masters are just teachers who have mastered the matrix by ascending their frequency up to that level. That's why they're called
Oh,
ascended
man, that is
masters.
that is that is some wisdom right there. I just wanna make a comment real quick. That one of the things that we learn in various ways, and I wanna go back to make a comment and a compliment about you talking about as a little girl looking at art, and you were looking at the world like art and symbolism, but you look like the cover of your book. You are a walking piece of art, and no, and it's not just an aesthetic thing. Come on, it's not just an aesthetic thing, but I think that it makes people feel comfortable, and it's like a pretty landscape, and but it's also part of a spiritual thing, like laughter and humor, because I think people that want pretty things around themselves, or to look project a certain way, or project art, I think that's also a frequency. It's an aesthetic
Yeah.
frequency.
Yeah, and it is because you are
Mhm.
going to project out what you are. So, so you these artwork is not new, and if you've gone to one Buddhist monastery, you see them everywhere. Okay, it's the same artwork. We've been regurgitating the same artwork for all the way back to Mu, all the way back to the lost continent of Lemuria. So, anyways, and a lot of the spiritual knowledge has been kept in many of the cultures through shamanism, metaphysics, and then, of course, it's the big one is Buddhism because all the scribes. That's where you can get. In ancient times, there's a little background. In ancient times, the Buddhist monastic schools, they're just universities where you get free education to learn math, science, metaphysics, energy healing, to learn how to read and write, and the monks teach everybody else what they learn, it's just a school. It's a free school. Yeshua ben
Right.
Yosef went through it for all his young life until he got into his 30s, and then made ways with Gnostic Christianity. So we'll talk about Yeshua ben Yosef, his girlfriend, and John and Thomas later, but but it's open to anybody who wants to come learn energy healing, metaphysics, and how our consciousness creates physical reality. You
So I
wanted to say
wanted to
something?
mention, we were talking pre-show, and you were talking about this, and we're going to get into this next segment, but that really you're talking about mystery schools, and
Right.
about Yeshua even pre-Jesus. Okay, there, before he was here, there was the Essenes, and they had mystery schools, and they taught how to. They were actually could do several things, whether it would be levitate, be invisible, but the frequency was so high that they could transcend 3D material
Well,
space.
yeah, we're all alchemists. Remember,
Yeah,
everything is energy, and the only thing that's separating the forms is the frequency
what
that's holding that shape.
right.
You change the energy signature, you change um the the structure. It's just like when you're cooking, you cook high enough, it's going to melt and become something completely different. Okay, same concept. But
I don't wanna
when
melt. I do
no,
wanna
you
walk
don't.
through I do wanna walk through walls, though. I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay,
It is
okay,
it's a goal.
okay. But that's a sixth sense too. But anyways, yeah, sixth sense is very common because as you raise your consciousness and your frequency, your aura field raises its frequency, then it pops up new sixth senses that you've kind of grown into. So it's kind of like if you're a kid and you have the ability to jump 15 feet, you're not going to do it when you're a baby, but as you grow into a certain height and you reach that height, then you have the ability to do that next level
Yeah.
jump. It's the same thing with your spiritual aura field. Is that when you raise your frequency up to certain levels of consciousness, you amplify a higher energy, and it opens up dormant abilities that's always been there, but they just aren't going to be unlocked until you reach that level. Kind of like the key code to your experience is your personal frequency. You are the key code
Absolutely. No,
to
I
everything.
feel that. So
So,
do you help people watching with this? I know they have the books are gonna help a lot. They can purchase your
mm,
books. You have many things on your YouTube site, but do you also have clients that you help if they can't get unstuck in old frequencies? And you think, well, what is stuck in old frequency? Well, I don't know. If your life isn't going right, you want to manifest more. That whether it be love or
oh
finance,
yeah, yeah, I do.
right? I mean, wouldn't that be a sign that you want to improve your frequency because your
Mhm.
manifestation ability?
Yeah, yeah. The three books are great for everybody. They like everybody who reads them reports back. I Life has been much more easy. Things are manifesting with synchronicity. I am
Good.
seeing signs from my angels or my spirit family. My grandmother's her signs are all over the place. They I get a lot of these because they're raising their frequency. It so those help a lot. But just really quick, so Buddhist mandalas explore
Hmm.
parallel realities of sacred geometry. The
Hmm.
quick thing about this one will actually it will amplify your frequency. It'll change your consciousness. The other one, the one with Kuan Yin, um, this is book 2, the one you had before with Kuan Yin. So, anyways, really quick. So this is where the art history that I grew up studying advanced Buddhism comes from.
Okay.
All the artwork has Kuan
Yep.
Yin
Mhm.
or any master teacher, and every master teacher has 2 halos, one in the head and one in the body. It's not behind you, it's all around you. It's you're like you exist in a bubble. That's what they call your mandala or your Merkabah in Judaism or Kabbalah, or your Sri
Your God
Yantra
bubble.
in
Your God.
Hinduism. It's your Sri Yantra. In Zen, it's your yin yang for how the toroidal field
Mhm.
works in your body. They have it. They call it the whirling log in Native American. All the teachers come in a whirling log. So there's a lot of different, and I go through all that history, even in Christianity, the same
Mhm.
depiction. It's the same depiction. We're talking about the same
Halo,
thing,
Holy Spirit.
right? So,
And
anyways, I go through the whole science of your Merkaba in that you are energy, and your energy is who you are. Your Merkaba, your mandala is who you are. Now, if you want to change the experiences, you got to raise your energy field to match the experience that you want to experience. All we're doing is projecting out from our consciousness the reality that we want to experience. We're doing this individually in our lives, and we're also doing this as collectively. So basically, everybody has 2 halos. You are a bubble.
mhm.
Okay, you are a Merkaba, your energy field. Your Merkaba projected out your physical incarnation that you're experiencing now, this avatar that you are. It changes depending on the experience you want to go on. Just like we change cars depending on the experience, if we want to go 4x4ing or if we want to go, roll around the beach of a topless car convertible. We
Mhm.
just change the vessel, but it's the same people. It's the
Yep.
same energy field. And everybody has a unique energy field. Um, so the following book, book 2, which is this one is Buddhist Mandalas,
Yes.
Christ Consciousness of a Multidimensional Merkabah. So this is the book 2 of the Buddhist Mandalas Trinity series. And basically, as you see here, this is the same artwork. I didn't come up with anything new. I just came up with my own um, design. But this right here is
That's your
a
book. That
yeah,
looks
yeah.
so
Oh,
good.
I
You need
match
to
my
take
book.
a photo and hold it. I mean, really take a
That's
photo.
freaking hilarious. I love that. Anyway, so this is another ascended master, a master Buddha teacher. This is Tara. And in many different monastic schools, Tara teaches a lot of different lessons as well. But she is really popular for teaching about multiplicity and the multiverse.
Mhm.
Okay, that's why when you look at Tara, she has a lot of
She's
this
in
is
motion.
yeah, she's in motion now. This is not 3 different Taras in one body that you
Yeah,
think you
she
see in
right,
Hindu artwork. Because in Hindu artwork, they see it what has happened is
right.
they have lost the knowledge of the multiverse, but they think it's all coming out of one body, but it's not. It's 3 different versions of Tara existing in 3 different versions of reality at the same time, and
Ok
they're all communicating with one another and affecting one another.
okay, so what we're gonna do then, God, can y'all get an idea that this
We're going down the rabbit hole.
we are going down this rabbit hole, okay, with style, okay? So let's do this because I have to think, and we have people very advanced, we have people that are beginners, just so I, to cover whatever. So the multiverse, maybe clarify. I know we want to go on the pre-life planner for starseeds and all of that, but you know what? It's not a bad idea to clarify what is the multiverse. And I love what you're saying, that image on the book there, that we can. I know it's a shock to some people. We can be sitting right here and also have versions of ourselves there and other planets in bodies if we choose, and we have others that the astral form that we're doing stuff. I mean, we are our soul, we are right now, as we perceive it, so small, a small portion, like a slither of a pie, just a small portion because we're so big. So, which really gets into responsibility because we're like, I'm just trying to deal with this responsibility with here.
Yeah.
So, can you go more into the multiverse and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit describe it more as you see it, and even getting into how you see it now as a, I don't want to label you, but your training, your early training as a Buddhist, and through your spiritual explorations, how you see this and where we are
Okay.
now. Hmm.
Right, right. So, I've always had this growing up where things would be missing or things would change. Um, Accounts. I have a really good memory of especially specific things that I really love, and how history would change, people would change, storylines would change, and so I thought it was just me for a long time,
Oh, we're talking
but
the Mandela now.
but yeah, we're going to talk about the
Okay, tell
Mandela
everybody,
effect.
tell everybody what that is first, and then we're going
Right.
to go down that hole.
It's all the same thing, okay? So so really in short, there's the reason why I have the companies and the
Okay.
artwork's really important.
Yes.
What happens is your energy field, your
Okay.
energy field has a frequency. It's dependent on your level of consciousness. The higher the consciousness, the more information and condense your energy field. Okay? You're like a heavy Mini Cooper that's the same weight of a, a truck. So anyways, that's what you are. And if you want to change your frequency, you you raise your consciousness level, you work on your inner healing if you have any old programs that you need to heal, and then you create and manifest more consciously how you want to create things. And that's like the basic stuff that everybody should know but they don't do. So anyways, what happens is when you change your frequency, you change reality. There is another version of reality that has a higher frequency, and that reality is going to match your new frequency. So, and we're doing this all the time where we're changing our frequency, we're going up, we're going down, we're going even more up. And it's basically the simple thing is just focus on what you want to experience and then follow through with the action items to get to that experience. It's very, very simple, nothing very hard. And that's how we travel the multiverse is by consciously creating our next best experience with more clarity and more kind of more loving intent for yourself to experience. So you're not creating like out of old baggage. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need that life lesson anymore.
Mm-mm.
So, so what happens is when you start living like this and you start living more consciously, living more higher vibrationally, making these decisions and working with them, what happens is your history changes. Okay, because you've done the healing and you're moving forward and raising your consciousness, your energy field is changing, that you're in a new frequency of reality, and that new frequency has a different history as well, hence personal Mandela effects. I have been studying metaphysics and consciousness my whole life, and I've also been studying with that the change of energy that Earth is going to be coming through. So in Buddhism, we start the calendar from the first Buddha that awakened within the Matrix, which was Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni. That's the first one. And he what he did different was he started documenting all this stuff and teaching everybody else who wanted to learn, how do you get your six senses? I want to learn that too, to get my six senses, etc. Because six senses is a part of being conscious. It just comes, it's a natural part of your growth process. So I have been following that, and basically in 2012 was the end of the Earth's last cycle, 25,920 year cycle, I think it is. But um it's not a doomsday, it's just a changeover of energy. So in Buddhism, it's 2555 Buddhist era. So 555 is a changeover number. It's just a
Oh
changeover.
yeah.
Okay, just a changeover. So
Mhm.
what changes the energy has changed is a much more accelerated and higher frequency, and it's going to continue to amplify that.
Mm.
That's the new cycle because Earth has a consciousness herself. She's living as well.
Mhm.
Everything is living.
Oh yeah.
So we're just existing within her body, just like the cells in your body are living as well, and they're having their own happy little days, not knowing what's going on. So, anyways, she has a consciousness and she has elevated herself to her next level of consciousness, which is a higher frequency. People say it's a fifth dimension, whatever. That's debatable. But fifth dimensional consciousness. And when you raise your consciousness, you elevate your reality. So, anyways, what happens with that is that in these higher frequencies, just like the wind, like if you're sailing and you're doing things your old way, your third dimensional way, where you're doing everything by yourself, that works fine for you for a while, but then the wind changes and it picks up in frequency.
Yeah.
And now you need a couple people to help you sail,
Yeah.
work together, um, make it's going to be much more easy to work with the new intense speed, and you're going to go to a much more beautiful destination much faster with more ease. And that's really what it is. Now, what's happening is in these higher energies, as it continues to go up higher and higher, because you can't stop it. 'Kay, she's going to go through what she's going to go through.
So how has this been decided? And I got to tell you something crazy.
Huh.
I found this myself. I have notebooks of all this channeled stuff. Well, apparently I was cleaning up through my house and I found a notebook and it's crazy. It's crazy. It was back in August 25th, 1995 that was talking about, and I was a baby.
Mhm.
I'm young, and I was at a conference for 3 days. It's some spiritual, he was a way out there guy, but actually he's right on point. And he was a channeler and he talked about all these things and about the different realities and how the earth is changing and how we're being more of a light body frequency and love and light unity and more bioluminescent. And he actually described the waves in which they would come. And he actually wrote down the years. I'm shocked because this, like, I was looking at the stuff back then, and I didn't know I was called it channeling back then, but doing that back then. So when people say, "Are you awaken?" I think you awaken at different frequency levels at where you are at the time. But back then, I was thinking about partying, even though I was
Of
doing
course.
spiritual stuff too. But I was a
Oh,
young
I was a
girl.
heavy partier, girl. I was not a
I mean,
good
I bet,
girl.
yeah, whatever I do, I commit. If I work, I bust serious butt, right?
I
But if I
Yeah.
party, I'm all in. I mean,
You gotta go
whatever
all
I do,
in.
it's
You gotta go
never
all in.
halfway.
Yeah, no halfway, all the way. You gotta date all the way. You gotta really enjoy you gotta be in the moment, do the experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
know, I get it, I get it.
and so now wow. Okay, so the Mandela effect, I do
So
wanna go back. Where's that section in
2555.
the Bible?
Okay, so just really quick. So
Okay.
2555, that was a changeover. Uh, a lot of indigenous cultures did awakening ceremony just to acknowledge the changeover. They just acknowledge what was already happening. Okay, Buddhists, Mayans, chiefs of the Polynesian islands, and the list goes on. The West didn't know because they kind of cut out a lot of their roots to where that information came from. But that's a different story. So that's what happened. And the thing is in these we know this, that in these higher frequencies, if you are creating from unconscious program and it didn't work for you, you're going to create hell for you every day.
Hell on earth, yeah.
Yeah, for you every day because you
Do.
haven't, like, all your tax evasions is going to come back up
Oh,
to make
man.
you work on it.
Ooh,
Your dirty deeds is going to come back up
do dirty
in
deeds.
all the baggage, your hidden secrets is going to come back up in creative ways for you to deal with it because you can't take it to these higher dimensions. Okay, that's why everything's coming back up. It looks like hell on earth, and everybody's gone crazy and nutty.
Really? Well, here's the thing, it's a completion of a cycle because Earth's got a plan. The divine has a plan.
She's
It's
just
time to raise the frequency. So
Just
any old
cleaning
stuff,
out her junk.
it is
Yeah.
purging. It's the purge, but
It's
not
the
like that movie. It's
purge.
not like
It
the movie, but it's the spiritual purge.
it is. It is. And so you're gonna learn at some point, and some people are going to deal with it, like learn it the hard way, and then not repeat that life lesson again, and then they're gonna create much more consciously. Some people, they just,
Mm.
for whatever reason, cannot get to graduate to the next level of their consciousness, and they're gonna find an exit strategy.
Okay, so I do want to stop here and talk about this because I know, okay, we're on a fast little car. We're on that little heavy Cooper car right now, but we need to slow that mother down. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, we're still living in a 3D reality, and let me say what I think I mean by that. Back in the, let's think about it. The 80s and the 90s, and materialism, and then it slowly started coming out of that. Slowly, it was still there, and but people are much more spiritual, especially after being home, after whatever the isolation, and a lot of time to think, and so forth. But there are people, and you can feel it. You can feel the duality. You can feel the push and pull. There are certain people, the frequency you can feel, they absolutely want to do it the old way. They don't want to change. They don't want to look at new things. They actually, talking about a bubble, they want to live within their bubble and have the rule conform to them. But it's an individual frequency growth. It's also a collective frequency growth, because we are one in the end and unified. We just forgot. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you have any recommendations, guidance for people? Like, I was making a joke, hope no one's watching this that I know, but like family and the holidays, I have some that are very grounded in this earth, and they like this, whatever. I'm like ready to get on a spaceship. I'm like, I'm ready for seriously, I'm ready for everybody to land and go. Let's change this up. I'm ready for high frequencies. I'm not afraid. I get excited about things like this. So what about the people when you have to be around them? To me, I think it's boundaries and limiting, but then even just being in the world, like I can't watch certain things on TV where I have to be very protective, because I want to keep that vibe up. Can you speak on how do you live as a star seed, a light worker in this world of we're getting out of duality? And then for the people that just really want to just put their heels in, what do you feel is going to happen to them?
Okay. A lot of questions there. So,
Hmm.
when you raise your frequency and you match a new parallel reality, your consciousness goes to that version of reality. Um, it's like when somebody is one is in bed and the other one's gone. That other one went to another reality. Now, if that
How
person
would that
is
work? How would that work? Can you? Okay, so you're saying you're thinking about, I don't know. I don't know, hanging out in the astral realm with Octurians. And then you've got someone else that just wants just that buy a new luxury car because they care what people think, and you could care less. So you're living in two different. When you get to a higher ascended area where you're just in pure state of bliss, and you have other people, do they? I mean, they're still around. Are they just invisible to you?
mhm. Yeah. So it's like a fan. It's like when you're looking at this is the difference of frequencies. When you're looking at
Okay.
a fan and it has uh slow, medium, fast.
Yes.
Okay, that's the different frequencies. At the slow and medium frequencies, you can see the propeller blades going around, but at the higher frequencies, at the high speed, the propeller blades are going so fast that it becomes invisible to you. You don't see it. You
Okay.
don't even see that it's working only because you know it's there because of the container that the fans are in. If there was no container that the fans are in, it'll be completely invisible to you.
That's heavy stuff.
Terms of the multiverse, like in terms of the multiverse, when you raise your frequency to higher and higher frequencies, there are other versions of people in your life that are existing at that higher frequency. And so
Yes.
I get clients like this all the time who are having the personal Mandela effects where family members have different eye color or their tattoo is in different spot in their body and
Are
they
you
were there when
kidding?
they got they were there
On.
when they got that tattoo or there's also all of a
Man,
sudden a new birthmark on their body that they've never seen before in their life, but their family has seen that their whole life, and they have baby pictures of that birthmark, and
okay,
they're like,
wait a
"I've
minute.
never seen that birthmark on my
This
body."
is okay. Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm trying. This look. It takes a lot to really throw me off because I read a lot, and I've been doing this since like you, like a kid. I was very inquisitive, asking everybody, interviewing them. You don't even want to know about my childhood. We're so it's two different parts of the world, so similar. Anyway, but this is heavy to really think through. So you're saying there is physical, as well, as much as you want, evidence that there are shifts. So when I raise my, or somebody else, okay, but let's say I raise mine in my circumference, who usually is around me, or whatever, family or whatever. You're saying, and they can change structure. I can change structure with tattoos, or birth markings, or what have you, including it would not be limited to eye color, but physical stuff too, right? Physical, right?
Yeah, because like I said before, your consciousness, your soul, your Merkabah, your energy field, whatever you want to call it, the essence of you, it's just shifting from one version of reality to another. It's going from
This
one
is
version
great
of your
news.
avatar to another version of avatar. That's why as you raise your
A
frequency and you
different
get into
timeline.
as you raise your frequency and you get into these higher levels of consciousness, you start looking younger.
Oh wow, I'm like 110. I look great. You know,
Okay,
I am older than I look, and I am getting. It's really bizarre. I
you
mean,
look better than when you were in your 20s.
it's okay. That makes sense. Well, to me, they told me it's because of your bioluminescence coming through, which you have a lot of bioluminescence. I can see through your
Yeah, you're getting more light. More
new
light is
baby.
coming.
Wait, new
We're
baby
getting
Joe.
yeah, new baby fresh, new baby new, new baby fresh, new baby
New baby
fresh,
fresh. This
new
okay.
baby
This is
fresh.
when I was on Vaughn's channel. We talked about how the ETs in this world. We'll get to this, but how the
I
ETs
know we're
in this
jumping
world.
around.
They're talking. We'll get to that, but this is our personal joke about how new baby fresh. She said that. I said, you said what? And we were talking about that human hybrids that are walking around or ETs. A lot of them have this like real glowy, like their skin looks too perfect to be that old. It looks like baby skin. And so it's that bioluminescence coming through. We'll get to that, but that's part of the whole regeneration of the DNA. Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.